Sorry, I have a lot of, I just ate some eggs and I have some musical chords that got eggs on them. Just kind of all over the place right now. All right.
Love it. I might leave that in here. I think that's
You,
a strong introduction.
you can if you need to.
Congratulations on the Thanksgiving song and owning an entire holidays song catalog.
I didn't intend to do that, but when I realized that the opportunity was there, I was like, I want everybody to just enjoy the song, no ulterior motives. But if I could become the Mariah Carey of Thanksgiving, I wouldn't hate it. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know if that's even a possibility, but it was funny to me because I was like, surely there is actually a bunch of Thanksgiving music. And then there really isn't.
The song, like so many of your songs, has a nostalgia quality to it. Where does that come from inside of you?
What's really interesting is I was writing with a couple friends of mine the other day, and they asked me that, and I feel like I was not consciously and have not been consciously being like, I'm gonna write nostalgic music. I think something about it is just that I like the aesthetic of nostalgic things. Like if you like anytime we make visual like assets or whatever, I always want to make them look like an old movie poster, and I like 70s, 60s and 70s music. So I think some of it is that. And then I don't really know why the subject matter ends up being like that, but maybe that's just like a soft spot for me or something that I tap into. I don't know.
You've talked about how some of your musical influences are Sam Cooke and Randy Newman, the Beatles. People have compared you to a modern day James Taylor.
Wow, very kind of them. I'll take that.
How what do you do with that?
I mean, I think I feel like sometimes people get uptight about like comparisons. And to me, like any good professional musician that someone compared me to, I'd be like, oh, that's great. Like, I mean, but especially anybody like that, like James Taylor, that's a huge compliment. And so that's super kind. That makes me happy.
Your career is also sort of a master class on how to grow a strong and loyal fan base.
Thanks so much. That's very kind of you.
Was there ever a moment where you almost gave up?
Um, I'm a pessimist by nature. Like I wish I wasn't, but I have high expectations for my work, but low expectations for what will happen with it. And so I think I don't. In the same co-write, my friends were making kind of jokes about how like as long as I've been doing music, I've been like, this can't keep going. Like it's going to fall apart or like I'm going to run out of steam. And so when I was like early 20s doing it, I vividly remember being like, probably when I'm 30, like I'll be done with this because I just can't imagine doing it longer than that. So I don't know if there was a specific moment where I was like, I think I'm going to quit. But I think in the back of my mind, I've always been like, is this really what I'm going to do as an adult? So yeah.
You are full-fledged adult status because you've got a young daughter and twin boys that you and your wife Hillary welcomed. So they're how many months? Like 3 months?
Yeah, so they're like 4.5-ish, which is just, I mean, full on for sure. We're like slowly coming out of the fog of that back into real life. But they've been really wonderful babies, which I am super grateful for. But they're wonderful.
Okay, your sense of humor is like it is interwoven through your songs, your videos, your live shows. Um, who did you get your sense of humor from?
Well, that's nice of you to say. I don't really know. I remember I didn't just pick up music until I was like in high school. Really, like that's when I started doing it and being like, oh, I really like this. But before then, I remember always, wanting to make jokes or like try to make people laugh. So I don't know really where that would have come from. I mean, my parents are funny people, but they're not like ha funny. I don't know. I'm a youngest child by a lot, so maybe that's just like how I learned to interact with people. I don't know, but I appreciate you saying that and noticing it. It's nice.
Have you noticed the link between musicians and humor? Like a lot of comedians sort of wish they were a rock star, and a lot of stars kind of want to be comedians. What is that? Why is it so closely linked?
I don't know. I think on some level, those are both like, you're performing in both of those things. For me, honestly, probably on stage, my humor started as maybe like a defense mechanism because I was like, I have to try to like get people to pay attention. And maybe if I say something funny, they'll pay attention. I do think there's a strong correlation. I think a lot of musicians that I like and respect are just like smart, talented people, and that comes out in any way of them expressing themselves. And I'm not putting myself in that category, but I think like those two things go hand in hand because I feel like any high level anything, like people are usually bright. Like even whether it's comedian or musician, I feel like they're just interesting people usually.
Mm-hmm. Was there ever a time where you played it like straighter or stiffer, or have you always just naturally felt?
I'm not, honestly, that's a good question. I don't have really the card to play that's like cool guy musician. Like that's not something that comes very naturally to me. And I don't think I would be very magnetic if you made me try to be like super cool. I'm not very good at that. So it's probably been, that's my best interpretation of how to be in front of people is like to, be like that.
You're a big golfer. What is your dream foursome on your dream course?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, I think it's a difficult question because I would want to pick, somebody super interesting, but I would also want them to be fun to be around. And if the way, if I was like, I want to play with Tiger Woods, but he was like not excited about playing, I would be like, I don't know, maybe not him. I think that Bill Murray plays golf and just seems like a really interesting, funny guy. Huey Lewis is a good golfer and he's like my idol. I think he's incredible. He's like proper good at golf. And then after them, I'd probably want to bring just like one friend of mine just to like have a good time with. So I wasn't like, oh, hey guys, what's up? And I'd play Cypress Point, which is a really lovely course that is by the Pacific Ocean, and it is awesome. So that would be my dream foursome.
Oh, that sounds good. I hear that Bill Murray, like, to get a hold of him, have you heard that? Like,
He's you got to like call a answering machine or something like that. He's dead totally. I feel like the lore around Bill Murray is just incredible. All the stories of like him doing crazy stuff just because he's Bill Murray. Like I think he'd just be a hoot.
that Huey Lewis in the News cassette, I wore that thing out in my mom's VW Rabbit. And what is it about Huey Lewis that you would want?
I think so. My dad listened to Huey Lewis when I was growing up, and then I thought it was good. I wasn't like into music on a deep level. I just remember thinking like, oh, this is, you know, fine music, I guess. And when I was a teenager, I think I probably thought that and like Steve Winwood were kind of dad music. Like it's like, oh yeah, it's cool, but kind of whatever. And now I'm just like, it's the greatest music ever. It's so good and accessible and creative. I think part of it for me, the songs are great, but also his voice is just like unbelievable, just like super masculine, super like the tone of it is incredible, but he sings like he can sing really high. I just think he's incredible. I think he's one of the best voices of all time.
How does music do that? How do you articulate how, like, you know, you say Huey Lewis and all this, and I'm literally in my mom's VW Rabbit and I'm 8 years old, and it took that.
Totally. It's just so I think humans are hardwired to like have an emotional connection towards it. And I mean, probably just anything beautiful, like any kind of beautiful art. But I think music specifically, I don't know what it is. It just has like, it's like a profound effect on people.
Will you pick a song or an artist and a place and a moment that does that in your brain?
Hmm. Oh, I want to give a good answer to this. Um, this is such a random answer. I don't know why I came up with this. I remember listening to the Dave Matthews song Crush with, I don't remember what brand of headphones they were. They were like cheap silver headphones laying on my living room floor when I was like probably 16. I just remember being like, this is so cool. This is just like such good music. That's a super random one. I wish I could have come up with a less random one, but that one is what came to me.
I love it. Well, and we're out here in Seattle, and so that's going to resonate with our crew. Another word that a lot of people use just to describe your music, you, is friendly. And so I want to know, who are some of your best friends?
My best friends, most of them are not musicians. They're just kind of like people. My best friend's name is Blake. We went to college together. Him and his wife now live in Nashville. He works at Smile Direct Club, the retainer building service. I don't know what to call that. He's a brilliant guy. It's a great product also. He doesn't need the help. They're like crushing it, but I used it. It's awesome. Blake's a good friend of mine. I keep up with some of my friends from college. We all go every year on a trip to kind of keep in touch. We've done that for 12 years now. So like they're all still close. I'm trying to think of anybody. I'm also like, there are friends of mine who are public people, but I'm not like I know so-and-so kind of person. I'd say generally most of the people that we're really close to are just like in the same stage of life we are. Not, they're smart, kind people, but it's not like, here's a list of my famous friends. You know what I mean?
No, I wasn't looking for that.
Oh, totally.
Uh, your wife, Hillary, I know she must support you so much. What is one of the things about her that makes you a better man?
Oh, wow. She's a great person and a great wife, very brilliant, smarter than I am for sure, really kind, really selfless. I also appreciate that she is generally unimpressed by my job. She's not like, doesn't think it's cool, isn't trying to like cash in on any whatever like cool status points that brings for being a public person. She's just like not really about that and doesn't care. Which I feel that it's important to me. It would be very stressful if I were married to someone who thought it was really cool, because I don't want to like live in that way really. And so if someone was like, this is awesome, I'd be like, this is stressful. So she's super supportive, but she is as supportive as if I was like really into being an accountant or something. She'd be like, yeah, that's what you do. It's what you're made to do. It's great.
And then she'd probably be like, how do you guys do the whole taking turns thing when you just want to sleep, but you got two babies at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to figure that out. I think we're just trying to figure all of it out, really. So how do you do it? I don't know. Just I don't really have a good answer for that.
It sure is quiet around there right now for having.
Well, so like my office is separate from the house, so you can't hear anybody. But if we went inside, you could definitely hear people.
Got it. There's a saying that says the more personal it is, the more universal it is. And so many of your songs speak to that, like growing up, love, loss. It's stuff that everyone can relate to. I'm thinking of, lines from Old Friends and The Men Who Drive Me Places. Let's talk about that song for a second. Where did that desire that you have to share the spotlight come from?
I don't know. And it's honestly wasn't a super conscious thing. I don't think. I was just really affected by talking to those couple of, it's about two drivers in particular, like cab drivers in particular, but I have had that conversation with a bunch of people. I want to say like, I was just so selfless that I just knew I had to do it. But I think really it was probably me more trying to just like make sense of why I get to do a unique and rewarding job and other people don't. So I don't know. I mean, that was just the best attempt I had at like processing that. And really it was more about those guys just, I think like probably living in the 20 minutes that I was around them in a way that I was just like, man, you seem super full of joy and content. And I should be more of those things because I'm getting to do a unique job and you guys are not. So, yeah.
When you find yourself in that headspace and you talked about how you're sort of a pessimist by nature, do you ever struggle to pull yourself kind of out of that place where you're feeling all your feelings?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's songwriter, artist. That's easy to dwell in your feelings for sure. So, but I mean, I think it's super helpful now. I feel like having Jane and the boys puts everything in a lot better light and perspective. So even when I'm stressed out about something or feel like I'm not doing a good job of whatever musical thing, it definitely has a better I have a better perspective on that now because it's just like, well, this is, it's important because it's my job, but it's not like the end all be all of anything.
I want to circle back to your Christmas record, and I just want you to share a little. This is new for you, and you love
Mhm.
the Christmas season, and so share just a little bit more about what it was like to choose what of these classic songs you were going to put on there, and add your own take to it.
Yeah, I think I've wanted to do a Christmas record for a few years and just haven't really had the time or bandwidth to do it between touring and like recording, excuse me. But this year, when I figured out that the world was going to be kind of shut down indefinitely, I was like, this is totally the year to do it. Gathered my friends up and really picking the songs. I just wanted to pick my favorite Christmas songs, and I wanted it to be nostalgic and feel classic. And really, after that, it was just the songs that I thought would be most fun to sing. I wanted to have a record that people could just put on while they're doing anything in December, and it feel familiar and the way that, I mean, like Bing Crosby or whatever makes you feel. And then putting my own spin on it, it was actually because there's so many recordings of all those songs because they're so great. It feels kind of expected that you would kind of do your take on it a little bit. But like I said, I didn't I didn't want to like break the mold. I wanted it to feel like familiar and tapping kind of into the same feelings that you have when you hear a classic Christmas song.
Feels like you're surrounded by such a great team. The people that help you with like the artistic direction, obviously the lyric video for the Thanksgiving song. It feels like you've found people, musicians as well, that kind of are in line with your general vibe. You want to talk about your team?
Yeah, I feel like I'm super grateful to work with the people that I'm working with now and have in different, you know, at different times and in different business relationships have worked with a bunch of different people, whether that's like a manager or like, a person I hire to do a video or bandmates or whatever. And I think that it's difficult for me to give up control of things sometimes because like I have a very specific idea about what I want to do and how I want to do it, which is great in some ways, but as things grow, I can't really touch all of the things as much as I used to be able to. I have to be able to trust people and to be like, okay, I'm going to give you this direction and then trust that you're going to do it. And that's it. I'm not going to like double, triple, quintuple check. And I think the setup of the team right now is really great because everybody seems passionate about it and they're so talented and with it. And I feel like it's enabled me to focus more on doing the things that I need to be doing and less on the things that are going to just like suck up my attention. Because at the end of the day, every second that I spend stressing out about like, is the font just right on whatever is time I can't spend either doing my actual job or like being with my family. And so it's been really wonderful to work with the people that I'm working with now.
I feel like that's such a great lead into my final question slash statement. There's a question buried in here somewhere, but you said font, which reminded me that somebody funny commented on your Instagram about like, sorry about the lawsuit for the "You Are Special Today" play font for the, yeah. And I just thought, man, your friends and your fans are so clever. They're so smart. They're all looking for those Easter eggs.
Right.
You sometimes scroll through your social media, you laugh out loud at just some random stranger and what they say.
I love it. And honestly, like it's almost like this is probably a bad way to say it, but some of that stuff is almost like a sport to me. And so like a lot of times, sometimes I'll laugh, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, that was good. That was like a good grab or a good whatever. But I think that, yeah, I agree. I've been impressed with how like witty and like thoughtful people that have listened to my music are. And I get such a kick out of seeing their responses to stuff because I feel like generally it is entertaining.
Ben, thanks for your time today.
Totally. Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Take
Have
care.
a great day.
All right.